All right, so I've been trying to do a lot of research on figuring out why this happens here. And once I can figure it out in Alabama, I can figure it out in the other states from westward expansion after 1803 from the Louisiana Purchase. Remember, they go that way. And then after 1808, you can't bring no more slaves in. There was an importation ban. So how did all of a sudden 41,000 people pop up in Alabama? So again, you couldn't bring nobody in here importing from Africa after 1807, 1808. But that didn't stop me from going through the slave ship manifest from those years, because even though you can't bring any Africans in, they still got manifest in Alabama between 1821 to 1837. And what you'll find, though, are all of them are coming from New Orleans over to Mobile, Alabama. So these are all coming from the United States, which you should know that because the importation ban was banned. But do they have enough manifests to cover 41,000 people? Now, I'm cool with them coming from other states, but do you have enough to support 41,000? Long story, no, they don't. When you look at the number of images they have between those years, you have a total of 733. Now, this is one of the most populous pages that I found out of all of them, which with about like 10 to 12 people on it. But your typical ones in here, and you can see them along here, they only have like 1 or 2 people per ship. So even if we add up the numbers and add some extras and put like 3 people per ship, and some of these aren't even people, some of these are just manila folder images, so you can't even say all 733, but let's just say it, that might make 2,000 to 3,000 people, maybe. Well, that's not close enough to that 41,000 number, or is it? So the next thing I did was say, hey, if 41,000 slaves were just sold between the years of 1820 to 1830, then surely we will have a lot of newspaper documents showing thousands and thousands of people for sale, right? Because that's what they do and put it in the newspapers. But when you look up the years between 1820 to 1830 in Alabama and you search the word slave, there's only 650 newspaper clippings, and they're all not talking about selling a slave. So you got to think about that. There's no way going through 650 newspaper clippings is going to make up for 41,000 people. But just to check another thing, I put the word sold. Like how many things and people were sold, because you would see things like this where it says will be sold to the highest bidder. And they're talking about a Negro woman of about 24 years of age, and then 2 children of 8 years old or whatever, and whatever age, which is pretty sad because, like I said, it's the women and the children in some cases that they had enslaved mostly, but that's a whole nother video. So just think about this. We can't make up the 41,000 number through people being sold through the newspapers, and we also can't make it up through people coming in on boats from someplace else. But also, what you don't have where there's 41,000 is you don't have a 40,000 or 41,000 drop in numbers of slaves that had states that had slaves prior to them expanding over to here. So you don't have 41,000 coming out of Georgia. That number keeps going up, goes up very substantially right there. And I know why. But you have states like that keeps going up. States like this keeps going up. States like this keep going up. All these states keep going up. None of them drop. And especially don't drop 41,000, but also 117,000. Because why does it go from 41,000 to 117,000? I found that out. The 1820 census, which would be the first census done for this number right here, right? First things first, I noticed in 1820, they only have these counties that you see here. About a total of 8 or 9 counties. Not all counties were listed, but still 45,000 black people were found there. I jumped to the 1830 census and I counted these, and it was a total of 36 counties that are now being counted in the census instead of the first initial 8 or 9. All of a sudden, it's 117,000 black folks that you find out of nowhere. Now, You didn't count them in them counties last 10 years ago. You just expanded into these counties within the next 10 years and you counted them, but you counted them all slaves. Because again, we didn't see a 40,000 drop up in here anywhere, but we also won't see a goddamn 50 to 60,000 drop in any of these numbers either. They're all fresh new niggas. So I opened up the 1820 census because I was really curious. How are these people labeled? Notice this is the extent of each page. Your typical document of a census looks like this, with a second page where the free coloreds, the slaves, and the others are on, which we'll get to. This was 1830. 1820, they were hand drawing them, and the locations of people were a little different. Coming in close, you can see where I have questions. 1820, you just get there. Now you're counting people. This is free white males, free white males, free white women, free whatever. And then this is free persons of color, right? And there's several of them there. You also have slaves listed here. And the total number of people in the family. Total number of people in the family on each line, 42. But also, you don't know what race these people are. They didn't record that. So what we have here is, if you were to assume these people were white, then these people own these people on their line. But what's funny is that the free Negroes are listed on the line of somebody else. Typically, the head of household would be what they want you to think is the slave owner. They didn't start slave schedules and start calling head of households slave owners until 1850. Yeah, 1850. 1840, they were still on this. But, you know, at this time, you don't know. Who are these people? Why are the free blacks under them and not on their own line? Why are free blacks not listed as head of households? Are some head of households black and you just don't know which ones are, and they would be the ones that actually have other free blacks under them, plus their slaves, plus this is their family members, all in total? Meaning, are these people black and maybe these people aren't because they only got 6 people in their family, no free blacks and no slaves, and 6 people, so they're all white tea? Or are these all black folks? They don't really have to be counted as a free white person of color. Well, no, these are free white people, so these are white people. So see how confusing it can be. But at the same time, what are all of these people? These people can be white tea or they can be black. Who knows? Because notice these people have no white tea people with them, but he does. He has 3. So what are we reading? We're reading people playing games, because you're going to count who are all the slaves, who's black, who's white, who knows what it is. We don't even have sales of major amounts of slaves being sold in the newspaper. Did you go to goddamn Walmart and it was on sale on the rack? What's happening? And the only total number of free inhabitants in Alabama at the time was 567. So everybody was enslaved mostly in Alabama, which is also crazy, because that's out of 364,000 or 46, whatever that says, as far as that free number was. So when I go and I look at these numbers on this census, where this is 1830, which they were playing games here, a lot of these are children. Like this. These are totals carried over from the other page. Slaves, males, females. These are your young folks. These are your young girls. It's way more young women and boys than there are adults. You got way more women than there are men as well. There are some. Notice you don't have a whole lot of free males, free folks, but they're, it is what it is. So I don't have much time left, so think about this. They can't make this number up through slave ship manifest of people coming in from either Africa or intracontinentally. You can't find enough slave sales in the newspapers to make up where all these people came from. You don't find the drop-in numbers from any other state to show that they've been transferred to another state. Each time you go to each one of these, because in 1840 they start counting the other, it's like 50 counties counting. There's like 57 or 61 counties in Alabama. So each 10 years, they're increasing their numbers by moving to each county. But each of these counties they move into, the number of niggas increases. And where are they coming from? They were already there. They were Indians. Quit playing with me.